Yeah.
Man, you supposed to be recording. You gotta cancel that. That's uncool.
Lows, nigga. All right, what's good, everybody? Welcome back, and thank you for tuning in to the Four Colored Man podcast. This is your host, Terry Bluez, and we got a special guest in here today. My man, I've been knowing this dude for a long time. It's funny because I've been knowing this dude for a long time through the internet, and in person, we've only linked up only a handful of times, but it's still love whenever we see each other, man. Yo, I got my homie Bigg UU in the house, man. What's good, baby?
What's good, man? How you feeling, bro?
I'm good, man. I really appreciate you coming on today.
Yes, no problem, man.
Now, before we get started, man, I want to tell a funny story. A lot of my guests I know personally, and I have these interesting stories, about certain things. So I want to tell this funny story real quick, right? And so, like I said, man, I've been fucking with Bigg UU for a minute, and I don't know, like, how I actually started. I think you was fucking with C on some music shit and like doing graphics and videos when back when you was rapping, right?
Right.
And so I remember I had been fucking, like, we had communicated online for a couple times, and I remember C was shooting a video for you. And I popped up, and mind you, like, I'm just there. I ain't had no haircut. I'm in that bitch with some holes in my balling shorts and a sloppy t-shirt and some slides. Funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just out there with my nigga. I know he's shooting a video, and the whole time we shoot this video, hours we out there, video get done. We leave. Nigga post a picture like, oh yeah, we out here, big trouble, Bigg UU. That nigga hit me, I was like, yo, nigga, that was you.
Oh, shit.
That nigga's like, man, I didn't even know that was you.
Yeah, because I had seen, the big, like, man, when we was like rapping, like real, real, I think it was like 09, 2000.
Yeah.
2011 around that, in that area. I was all about like the area. I was like, yo, I just want to see everybody shine. So, Waco was like, that's like like a sister city, brother city. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, we both 254. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's basically extension. It ain't like it's Austin, right? Austin is kind of like its own thing, but like Waco and Killeen, like we kind of in the same realm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was always, peeping out everybody that was doing stuff in the area. And I do remember seeing like your cover arts for your music, The Big Trouble. You know what I'm saying? And that was kind of one of the reasons why I even started messing with One Mind. So I could, because I was like, okay, I like what they doing over here. You know what I'm saying? Let me go holler at them.
Yeah, man. That's what's up, man. I remember that, like, yo, so with that, right? Like, I want to give a little background. Well, first of all, before we do that, go ahead and run down your resume, because right now I know you're running the Trillmatic podcast. So this is the Four Colored Man Trillmatic Mashup episode.
Right.
So shouts out to my man. And right now y'all on what episode, like 130 something, like
135. Yeah. We about to step into
man.
136.
And like we were saying, like I was saying before, like offline, you were one of the inspirations for me even starting this up, because everybody out here is like, yo, consistency.
Right.
And I was like, I remember I was one of the first, you hit me up to be one of the first guests on your joints.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that was like episode 3.
Yeah.
And now you on episode 135. I was like, yo, let me hit this nigga up, because he really doing it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So, like, give a little rundown of your resume, your history.
Some of y'all are probably know me. I started rapping. I've been rapping for a long time, but I started like really taking it serious. I think I probably really started like trying to make some moves around like 06, 07. And then from there, I just kept growing it. And then I started putting out, like some mixtapes with like some high profile DJs and whatnot. And then from there, I actually got into the internet side of it. And because one of the things that I had funny story, there was some little movement that was going on out here in Killeen, and where they brought in like the DJs from from radio stations in big cities. And I remember they brought this one DJ from one of the stations in Dallas. And they was out just trying to give everybody game on how to get their music popping or how to get their single popping. And but what I realized was the information that he was giving was catered to like a particular type of audience or a particular type of sound of rap, which was pretty much club music. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't really making club music. I don't think I ever really made a club song. So when I asked them in front of the whole group of people in there, I was like, "Yo, what that shit is cool, but what do you do for people that's lyricists or they rap? Like, what's the tip for that?" And he was like, "Yo, get on your internet game." You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I did. I kind of just ramped up, started trying to ramp up the internet presence, but at the same time, everybody was doing that too. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of became like a Wild Wild West kind of era. But then I realized too that being from Killeen, that we just didn't really have the outlets that say like a Houston had or LA or Miami. You know what I'm saying? So what me and my chick what we created was syntaxhiphop.com, where that was. You know what I'm saying? We kind of made a website that was based on just Central Texas artists to kind of give them a platform. You know what I'm saying? Kind of want everybody to shine, whether it was Killeen, Waco, Austin, Temple, Bryan College Station, and pretty much everything in between. And
man. I remember that. Y'all showed me love on that. I remember y'all posted me a few times with different shit I was doing, man.
Right. It was all about making the area kind of pop, man. But that eventually hits like a glass ceiling. You know what I'm saying? And then I pivoted to Trillmatic.com, and then after that, as blogging kind of I don't want to say is dead, but it's kind of it's not really popping as much. So we just pivoted into podcasting, and here we are today. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
man, that's what's up. And that's the thing, like, why I kind of wanted to bring you on here. Like, I mean, I see your consistency, but also, man, I think, our stories are, parallel in the sense of like, everybody like now know me as Terry Bluez, but if you look it up, man, Big Trouble, you can still find them albums out there.
Right.
I still got some videos out there. Look it up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that was back in the early, you know what I mean? I think we both came in on that early stage of like the transition of physical music to internet shit.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I think, like, I've seen you pivot, you know what I mean? And know when to go in and out, or like what the next big groove is. Because like I remember you on the what was this? This was about, when did we like randomly run into each other in Vegas? That was
oh shit, when was that? I think that was 2015. Yeah, that was 2015.
Yeah, it was about 2015.
That was so damn random, bro. I just wasn't expecting to see you all the way out there in the same vicinity. That was just such a random ass.
That shit was wild because I was out there for the Broadcasters Education Festival, and you was out there on it was pretty much the same festival, but they had like different events. Yeah. And you was on that podcast game, and I ain't.
Yeah,
you know what the fuck that was, man. You know what I mean? Like even then.
The funny thing was that I went out there because I knew I had wanted to get into the podcast game, but it was the podcast game. I mean, podcasting has been around for years, right? But but as far as like black people, niggas, you know what I'm saying? That side of it has been pretty hush for it. Just recently started kicking off. You know what I'm saying? So when I went to New Media Expo, what I was trying to do is figure out what the hell I was going to talk about, because the podcast that I was listening to, there was nowhere near as much diversity as it is today, right? But before, it was a lot of like business podcasts, marketing podcasts. That's what I was doing. I was like, I was using all that information that people were giving out. All this, like, to me, it was like free game, you know?
Yeah. Most definitely, yeah.
Right. I'm hearing interviews with people. It was almost like you were like a fly on the wall, certain
exactly.
conversations.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I originally used it for. You know what I'm saying? But and I remember being there talking to some of these guys that had been doing it, and I was like, "Yo, what do I do?" And they kept on trying to shift me into doing the same thing they were doing, but for like music, which was like sell information products and shit. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, that shit don't just it just didn't seem right to me. You know what I'm saying? So, but when I went there, it gave me some, like being around people. I started talking to other people. I started to get the ideas. Like, all right, I know exactly how I want to do a podcast. But at that point, I don't think I started yet. I was just kind of maybe I want to do this, maybe not. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but that's pretty much what why I was out there, man.
Yeah, man, I remember that's crazy because like backing up a little bit, man. So like, and I want to add I'm asking this of how you felt about it, because for me, that transition out of rap, it was a little difficult for me because it was like. It was hard because, like I said, it was that early stage of internet from physical to like, really getting out there in the streets and trying to sell them shits out your trunk.
Right.
And it had got to a point where I felt like the game was mad saturated. It was like, oh, you a nigga? Yeah. You rap? Okay.
Yeah.
Just like everybody else.
That's what happened.
Oh, you try to sell me a mixtape? Oh, okay. Everybody trying to hear that shit. You know what I mean?
Right. Imagine this though. Imagine being some, because I'm literally been rapping since I was like 10 years old, right? So imagine like being that person that always like focused on the craft like that, right? And then the time that you want to step in and do it is when everybody want to step in and do it. You know what I'm saying? It's just I don't know what happened or why. I don't know if the internet broke down the barriers, but it got flooded with a bunch of people that. It's a lot of people didn't even really truly rap. You know what I'm saying? They were just doing it just to be doing it.
Yeah, and it came like just a thing to do, man, and it saturated the market and really like watered down the art. And for me, it was like, man, I'm not trying to be just you know what I mean? You know,
right.
It started carrying a stigma with it. I felt like
no, it did. It did. The struggle rapper stigma. Yeah, and it's just like, all right, cool, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But,
yeah. So for me, it was like, yo, I got to pivot into something else,
right?
Which was, getting more behind the camera and getting into film. And I realized, man, at the end of the day, like for me, it's just storytelling.
Right.
I want to be able to tell a story, whether that's in a musical medium, which I think I might get back to. I kind of been feeling the itch.
I'm always like, you know what I'm saying? Like I keep that sharp though. I just want you to know, like,
yeah.
I still got the bars, baby.
I still be having verses in my head, but like I don't be like, I'm gonna go lay this shit down. I could.
Yeah, I could.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, but I be off that shit. But sometimes I be getting the itch. But I think now it'll be a little bit different because now it's the internet.
Right.
And I realize it's not easy to build a platform, but
it is.
It's possible.
I mean, it's not like 100% easy, but like if you were to flood, like with like for example, right? We were doing videos on YouTube before, like how YouTube is now, right? But just imagine. Like now that you got film, you do that. You know what I'm saying? You could do it yourself. You really like all 100% could probably do all that by yourself, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So just imagine like now, just by continuously putting out new music, how big you can build that fan base. All Hell YT or AKA Young Texas.
Yeah.
He's still out here. He's still out here putting in the music, man. So I know he's still out here getting paid off of this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, yo, it's still earning. Like I just recently went back to my old CD Baby account. I was like, oh man, this shit's still streaming.
Right.
Rest and Relaxation from like 5 years ago is still streaming. Hey, stream Rest and Relaxation, Terry Bluez on Spotify, Apple Music, and everywhere you find music.
Right.
Plug. But anyway, but yeah, no, and it still can earn. But the thing is, the internet is just about driving traffic. Yo, so one of our first interviews was one of my old professors, Dr. Kitten Ransby. And and he specializes in digital humanities, right?
Okay.
And what a lot of that entails is his specialization is like cultural curation of Black artistry and Black like patterns of like how we interact with the world or internet through mining our data, right?
Right.
So like he's really into SEO, Google Analytics. He taught me a lot of that shit, right? Of how you get your name at the top of Google. How
I learned all that stuff from like Syntax Hip Hop, bro. So
like all the algorithms. Right. So like now it's just about driving traffic. Like I made this statement. I was like, yo, man, you think about this? And I don't think people really gonna understand this. Digital real estate is gonna be worth more than actual physical real estate at a certain point.
You think so?
Yeah.
That's gonna be interesting.
Because look at it like, if you look at like, it's a, like, I don't care what you do, like, right? Like say, like I'm getting into comedy now, right? Like I've been doing stand-up now. And with that, it's just like the music game. I'm going to tour, not even like at this stage, I'm still just doing open mics, right? But if I could move around, do enough open mics where somebody can see me or build a real tape, I can send a booking agent, whatever, then I'm working the live shows. But regardless of what I do in the real world, ain't nothing gonna pop if I don't got no internet presence.
That's true.
Everybody's career is built off their internet presence.
Right.
If you look at actors, it's like, yo, I hear a lot of actors get upset about like, oh, they'll pick somebody who has a bigger internet presence than the person with talent. Yeah, you fucking absolutely right. Because what I realized, like the films that I've made, the actors, and this ain't no shot to them. You know what I mean? I still shout out to everybody I've worked with. I really appreciate it. But like, if y'all not promoting the films that y'all are in, what are y'all doing?
Right.
You know what I mean? Well, like, we're supposed to be a symbiotic thing.
I know now that based off of what I've heard Kevin Hart say, in past interviews that he had built up his internet following, but whether it's, social media following, and that's now a part of in the contract. Like if you want me to promote this movie through my social media following, which is a big following, then you have to pay me X amount. You know what I'm saying? Like just that extra. So I know that's important for a lot of people. But a lot of the smaller ones, they really don't have as much of a presence. It takes time. It takes time, and you gotta really put energy and time into it in order for it to like really be like a place where people are engaging, where you could drop something on there and everybody rushes to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. And I realized too, man, a lot of people are listening. Like I fuck with Flagrant. I fuck with Flagrant too, and the Brilliant Idiot is pretty hard, man. And one of the concepts I picked up from listening to Andrew Schultz was like, or watching how their shit grew, right? Till they got like a loyal following. And it's basically like, yo, you put out some authentic content consistently, yo, people will start flocking to it. Right. And whether it's a 1,000 people or a fucking 100,000 people to 100 million people, like, yo, if you got a group of loyal people that fuck with you, like, you could build a lot off that.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's really about just putting authentic content out consistently. And you can do that through any medium. Like a lot of, like Russ, right? I had never heard of Russ, never listened to him. Only thing that I've ever seen of Russ is people like talk shit about him on the internet.
Really?
Right? I just never understood that. I was like, oh, who is this guy? Why do people hate him so much?
Right.
But like one of the things I listened to in an interview, he's like, putting out a song a week for like 2.5 years straight.
That's what these kids be doing, bro, on SoundCloud.
Yo, and that's what it is. Whatever you doing, putting it out like 52 weeks, bro. 52 weeks, you do something 52 weeks a year, you put something out 52 weeks a year, it's gonna catch.
Right. No, well, you build almost like a foundation, man. Like it works with YouTube too. You know what I'm saying? You consistently put out that content, and then next thing you know, somebody watches your content, and they like your content, and then now they're watching 7 more pieces of your content, and now they're watching the next 30 pieces. You know what I'm saying? And then it just slowly grows like that, man. You know what I'm saying? It just keeps growing out. I mean, there's ways that you could speed up the process, or there's, you know, if you got certain connections, of course that process, you'll start from a larger base. You know what I'm saying? But you can build, bro. Listen, I went out to the damn podcast movement. Okay. And we sat there, Reefa was there with us. Okay. We sat there and we sat at a table, and everybody at the table talked about their podcast and, you know, what it is they talk about and all this, right? I'm sitting next to this woman. She dressed like she in a damn safari. Okay. She dressed like she in a damn safari. All right. Her podcast was about birds. I can't remember the name of the podcast. Okay. But she's really about this bird shit. Okay. I'm serious. She is into that shit, right? Like, she can tell you any bird. So she spent all this time in with this bird podcast to the point where she got sponsored by Jeep, the brand or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So birds, if a nigga can talk about birds and get you know what I'm saying? There's an audience out there for everybody. You just gotta find that shit, man.
Yeah, man. And you find that shit, they will fuck with you, man. Like, it's certain things like I hardcore fuck with, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's funny, right? Because Kid had told me, he was like, because I talked about like building a platform and such, and like, you know what I mean, doing all that. And he was like, this is gonna sound odd to say, but, you know, to build up a social following, you got to be social on the internet, like,
hella social.
And that includes like engaging with other people, because like I don't usually do that. It's like I've just now gotten in the realm to reaching out to people because I've started this. Like, I've had to ask people a couple times, which is like something I'm not used to doing. Like, if I ask you something once and I'm like, but whatever. But yo, like, I'm taking on a DJ Khaled mentality. Like, that nigga don't care, man. That nigga has like, he gonna get his verse.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right. You gotta have that mentality.
But so backing up, right? Before the podcast, so like you were in the rap, and mind you, like, we not gonna just glaze over like this nigga was just like, you know what I'm saying, like, oh, just, like you said, like just another struggle rapper. But first of all, my nigga got bars. And second of all, he's, you know what I'm saying, he's worked with some shit, you know what I'm saying? And one of my favorite featured songs that you got was that Soul Player with Currency.
Oh, yeah.
Yo, I was listening to that shit before we started this.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I just was finished playing that shit. I
appreciate that, man. That was
She want to roll with a player. I wouldn't play that bitch. I might add it in the post-production.
Yeah, that was during the time too when Currency was like really, really hot too. So it was a good look at that time period. Most def.
Yeah, man. So how did you like maneuver with all that and getting those with those DJs and linking up to get a verse from Spitter and such?
Money, you know what I'm saying? Cold hard cash, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, because I believed in the whole idea of you having to, because I mean, you got to understand, man. I'm not in Atlanta. I'm not in New Orleans. I'm not in New York. I'm not in LA, right? So my network at that time period was fairly small. So I mean, I hit everybody up. I was like, "Yo, how much is it for the feature? Or how much is it for this?" You know what I'm saying? I just work towards those things. You know what I mean? So, but as that happens, you do build like connections with people. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much all it was, man. You know what I mean? I mean, I know some people. They know somebody that knows somebody, you know what I mean? Or just so happen to be in the same venue as a particular person or whatever. So they're able to, impress certain people at the right times. I'm from Killeen, Texas. We don't have that. You know what I'm saying? So, that's I had to go and, just like, I remember watching, I think it was Young Dolph's documentary on World Star that came out on World Star. And he just rolled up on Gucci, man, with duffel bags. I'm not saying I was rolling up on people with duffel bags, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, sometimes you just gotta I'm here. I'm here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that money talk.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just pretty much what it was, man. You know what I'm saying? So But shouts out to everybody. Shouts out to everybody that I linked up with at that time period.
Yeah, I know what it is, man. I remember dropping some bread to get Killer Calion on the verse.
Right.
Rest and Relaxation still streaming. Smooth shit featuring Killer Calion.
This whole podcast,
that is still out now.
This shit is really about Rest and Relaxation going platinum.
Yo, I realized, man, like, yo, my homeboy said this, right? Because I just did a interview with my boy Spencer. He's an artist, and he just got back. Well, not just got back, but last year he got to do a mural in the Sudan for the embassy. Okay. Right, and my man's a dope ass artist. Like I went to grad school with him, and and like he's a dope artist, but he worked like. That nigga's never not working, right? That nigga got a hell of work ethic. And I asked him how he came up on that Sudan deal. And he was like, yo, man, I mean, you know me. He was like, I'm just in the studio working. And, you know, I've gotten able to be in front of some of the right people, like just off me working, people seeing me work and seeing my work. And then like, oh, well, let's put you in this exhibition. And from that exhibition, such and such, seeing them, and they was like, oh, I think you'd be good for this. Next thing you know, that nigga's in the Sudan getting drove around like Obama. Wow. Nigga had this nigga get with armored detail for like the first American artist to come do a mural in fucking Sudan.
That's crazy.
I'm like, nigga. But, you know what I mean? All that goes to say is like, putting in the work, but having something ready to sell when niggas is ready to buy. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm building, but I always got something on deck. Like, oh, what are you working on next? Oh, I got this script ready.
You stay ready. You ain't got to get ready, baby.
Yeah, exactly, man.
You're always working, man. Like, even now, man, like, I got, like, ideas for, you know what I'm saying, for, like, documentary series, for other story type podcasts. And, you know, I keep those in the bag, and I continuously work on those in case somebody do come with the bag. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, boom, I got this, and this ready to go. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Right.
And after we get off air, I'm gonna holler at you about some of those shits because I'm with it, man. Whatever try to work you try to get done, man. We link up and do a whole network. I'm with it.
Yeah, for sure.
So we building, man. Right. So what was that transition from rap? Was it just like, oh, it's a saturated market, or you was like lost the passion?
I don't think I ever really lost the passion. I think what happened was I kind of got more focused on trying to help everybody else. You know what I'm saying? With Syntax Hip Hop, that kind of became a thing. We try to launch a magazine in the time when magazines was dying. You know what I'm saying? That probably could still probably work with just a little bit of capital and a couple people, you know what I'm saying, that kind of run it, you know, run like a little staff or whatever. That could probably still work today. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I kind of got focused more on that. Like, yo, like let's all get on, because I noticed that, like, you know, in cities like Atlanta or, you know, St. Louis or even Houston when they popped off, there was like people that just kind of broke through the door, and then you know, everybody else, you know, they pretty much flooded the market after that. So my whole thing was, if we can get people out here popping, you know what I'm saying, then everybody's gonna eat. That was just my mentality. So I got more focused on that and just trying to link people together, you know, and just network and, you know, try to make sure everybody got their just due shine. That was what I kind of got focused on that, and that's when I was first kind of falling back from the rap. You know what I'm saying? Just more about helping people. But in the process, because I didn't know shit about the web, I had to learn everything from scratch, which was a struggle, but I figured it out. I got to the point where I ended up working for a digital agency and doing marketing for all the businesses out here. You know what I'm saying? And then it became more about just the money at that point. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't really rapping as much, and I was more about, all right, let's get paid. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where the transition kind of happened at that point. You know what I'm saying? Where you know, because when you're an underground rapper or indie rapper in like a small city like Killeen, it's hard to like create a living to where you're, you know what I'm saying, like where you have enough money to provide for yourself and your family. That That's not an easy feat in a small city. That's just not easy. You would have to. If there's any young artists out here that's listening right now, or if y'all know a young artist, I'm gonna just be real. You got to get the fuck about that city, man. You got to go to a larger city where there's connects and there's networks, so you can really move around and meet the right people. I mean, you could do things from the internet. But you could probably build a little something on the internet in 2018. Don't get me wrong, 2019. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it still takes knowing people to move you into and moving in the right circles for you to really, really take off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's at the end of the
day. Now you could build your buzz online and then come to them people like, listen, I got this. You know what I mean? And but I think you still need a little bit of both, man. And it's funny, man, you said that about like getting up out the city, man. Like for you, it was about putting on the area. Like 254 doesn't have any representation. How we build that, you know what I mean?
Right.
And especially in smaller cities, you don't really find that because you know, it was a Vlad interview. I think this originated from the Bootsy Vlad interview about you know, most rappers getting killed in their own city. And you've seen that recently, like, you know, and you know, this has happened a while when this is going to drop, but you know, I just seen the Yellow Beezy joints. You seen that?
No, I haven't.
Yo, just seen Yellow Beezy got shot. I think it was like last night or today.
I didn't even check that yet.
Yeah, and Roy Lee had. I don't know the whole story, so I won't speak on it because I just see headlines. I didn't know if it was like a beef thing, but yeah, I just seen that Yellow Beezy got shot in Dallas. You know what I'm saying? And he's on the verge of like being the next big thing out of Dallas is Vanilla Ice.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it'd be sad for him to go out like that, but. So you feel like, yo, in any situation, you got to get out where you from to get on?
No, I don't feel like that. But I do feel like there's a certain glass ceiling you're gonna hit. You know what I'm saying? You know, I do feel like too that before you just dip out the city, you know what I'm saying? You should move around in your city enough to know whether or not you can get the hell up out the city. You see what I'm saying? Like you gotta. It's like there's levels, right? Like if you gotta make it to the top or somewhere near the top of your city before you go around and say I could take on the globe. You see what I'm trying to say? If you can't even get there in your city, then you know what I'm saying? Like, are you really truly gonna get there? You know what I'm saying? So. And I'm just talking about this is just, you know, like music wise, rap wise, you know what I'm saying? You can't be the king of your state. You can't be the king of your city. You know what I'm saying? You can't be the king of the world if you can't be king of your state. It's just levels to me. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta get to the glass ceiling to know that there's the glass ceiling. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happened. I had reached like the glass. I had pretty much known everybody that I needed to know. You know what I'm saying? I've worked with pretty much everybody out here, especially from our generation of rap. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's in Austin, Bryan, College Station, Killeen, Waco, Temple, I pretty much know majority of the people out here. You know what I'm saying? So I had got to the point where it was just like, all right, like what's next? You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what I mean by that, by taking that next step. Maybe now at that point you do need to say, all right, let's go to Atlanta and see what can pop or whatever. Or New York or LA. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, it's funny, man, because you talked about, you know, our generation of rap. And I was just talking to C and the other day, man. I was like, you know what I mean? Is there anybody from our generation that like was in that era of that 254 music that's still actively doing it? I think like a lot of us have moved on to other ventures. Like, you know what I'm saying? You doing the podcast shit. I'm doing the film shit. I see well, I mean, I see like cats like Spark and
Spark's still out
you
here.
know, all hell YT then you know what I'm saying, rebranded himself and
right. I like what all hell YT. I like what YT doing right now, man. You know what I'm saying? I like the music that he's making. I like the place that he's in right now. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I think that you know, he's got an opportunity to take it a lot farther. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, and it's just like I think if he keeps that momentum, man, it's definitely definitely go pop. But so out of rap, you're doing the magazine, and I remember well, Syntax Hip Hop. Was it a website and then a magazine, or
It was a website. It was a website. It was just kind of like a blog site, and it was just showing the people that was out there that may be interested in the area, didn't know what was going on in the area, music wise, whether it was R&B or hip hop. And just the producers. It was like it kind of became like a place where like people could go to find out what was going on. Like if you were another artist or you were a DJ or you were a model or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It just kind of became like a spot for that because we did do stuff with like DJs. We did do stuff with models. We put out mixtapes, you know what I'm saying? And so everybody was, it kind of became like almost like a place where at least the people that were in the industry could go to see what the hell was going on or who was doing what. You see what I'm saying? Or who should you be linking up with next? Or maybe, who could you find from Waco that had a little bit of a following going that you could link up with in Waco? Or, you know what I'm saying? Vice versa. That's all it was. That's what I was kind of hoping for, like community to be built. And that's what was happening. You know what I'm saying? And so, and then it became more of getting the people to be, to become fans of some of these people that were out here, and that was happening too. So that's really what Syntax Hip Hop truly was at the end of the day.
Yeah, man, that's dope. Because I remember you had the release part. Well, you did do physical press.
Right, we pivoted towards the magazine, but it wasn't really like a full magazine people had to buy. I kind of got the idea from another one that I seen where it was just kind of like, and a lot of people do this, man. They put out like these little small free magazines. They're not real big. They're like probably like the size of like a book, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Or a comic book like that size, and to put them out for free and get just ad revenue from local businesses. You know what I'm saying? And that way, but the thing is you just need a lot of those. You need to kind of flood the area, which was a lot harder to do when you don't have a crew of people to do that with. When you're talking about Austin, Waco, Bryan College Station, and Killeen, that's a lot of driving. You know what I'm saying? So that needed a little bit more infrastructure in order to properly truly work.
Yeah, man, that makes sense. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like I remember like that indie artist hustle where we was driving from city to city. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like we was hitting I-35 like a motherfucker.
Real.
Like nigga need to write gas off on taxes and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like mileage.
Right.
But eventually that gets exhausting if you don't have like a team.
Right,
you know
right. It just gets to be too much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. So like, did you don't do the Syntax Hip Hop at all no more, right? Or no,
it's Trillmatic.com now. Yeah. I do have some ideas for Syntax Hip Hop to make a comeback. I definitely got that in the pocket still. I do got some ideas for that to get back, but I realize too that focusing on too many things at one time can also can just be a struggle. So I'm just focused on the podcast and growing that audience as large as possible, and then we'll worry about all the other stuff later. But right now, let's just get this going. You know what I'm saying, and getting this as big as possible.
So we talked a little bit earlier about how you started the podcast, like, but what? So Trillmatic or not Trillmatic? Let the Truth Be Told, right? That's the name of the podcast.
The Truth Be Told podcast.
Oh, Truth Be Told. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think I'll be saying like let the truth be told. I think I was trying to Google that shit.
It's because it's zero. That's the album that got the Mo City Don freestyle. So it's easy to get mixed up between the two.
Yeah. Slow down, all in my trunk full of punk. I ain't never been a punk. Like Yo, if you don't, I can't trust you if you don't know every word to that freestyle.
You're not even a real Texan.
Yo, real life, man.
George Bush knows that song. All right. George W know that song. All right.
Nigga, that's the classic, nigga. So you gotta pay homage to that shit. But where did you arrive on the title? And like you talked about earlier about like when you were going to when you were thinking about starting and going to these conventions, like what landed on? Because y'all do mainly like hip hop current events,
right. We kind of talk about hip hop. We do album reviews. Just kind of talk about the culture and what's going on. We throw in a lot of just normal life stuff too, but we kind of got different perspectives because we got a third guy on there too, Black Tide, who's a little bit younger than us. He's about 5-6 years younger than us. So there's a little bit of a generational gap there, but it works for the podcast. And then we got Reefa, who's all about the generation we came up on, and that's just it. Whereas I'm kind of in the middle of them. You know what I mean? I can respect some of the new school stuff, and I'll also trash some of the old school stuff too. You know what I'm saying? So, because I mean, let's just be real. Like everything that we put out during our era wasn't always the hottest. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, man. Here's the thing. Yeah, it's whack shit in everything. Right, you know what I mean? Like. So it's not exclusive to this young generation, but I do think there's always kind of been this gap between older and younger generations because they gonna come up with some shit that we ain't gonna like. Right. You know what I mean? Like we was doing shit our parents. That's
what I'm trying to explain. So that's why we we kind of do this podcast for people that's of these different generations that can come into one place and just kind of see like, all right, like yes. Spliff Star was not on the top of my top 5 lists. All right, for best rappers. Okay, just like like there's some new cats out there that I think are dope. Even what's the guy's name, man? I forget his name. But Lil Skies, I kind of like Lil Skies. I think he's a decent artist. I think if you give him the right, the right time and the right development, he can actually be something big. But I think that our generation, we get into this mode where it's, we pretty much disrespect these young guys doing it, like completely 100%. Instead of saying, all right, let me take what you're doing and then mix it with what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So everybody wins, right? Everybody's current, everybody's relevant. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like our generation I do feel like our generation had the best shit. I'm not gonna front. You know what I'm saying? Even before, listen, I went down to the candy store and I got me something to drink. Listen, nigga, let's be fucking real. When I was young and they turned all that shit on, I was like, yo, turn this shit off, nigga. DMX on, you know what I'm saying? So let's just be real. You know what I'm saying? I'm 33 now. Like, listen, that shit, I wasn't really rocking with that. But I also understood that it was the beginning. You see what I'm saying? So I can't be mad at it, right? But I think that that our generation, we had it, the peak was with our generation. You know what I'm saying? But I do recognize these kids are onto some other shit, and some of that shit is actually pretty decent. We gotta let them have their time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Yeah, here's the thing, right? Like, and I'm gonna talk to you about this offline, but I got an idea for another podcast, man, and it's just in the reference of being old, like, you know what I mean? And what that is, like, I feel like an old nigga because I got kids, man, and my kids be coming at me with, like, the music they listen to. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, you know what I mean? And they don't fuck with the music I listen to at all. I like underground old gangster shit. Like, you know what I mean? I got to work with white people all day, so I want to make my drive to work as gangster as possible. You know what I mean? But not even no gangster shit, really. Like, but I listen to like non-mainstream shit, really. Because right now, like, I mainly Lido. I'm on that Gates album, on that new Luca Brasi 3, hard. But I've been a Gates fan. You know, I was on Spitter hard for a period of time. Crit, that whole era. Do you think Crit's era is over? Like, not over, but ain't heard. I fuck with Crit, but I ain't really heard.
I liked his last album. I thought he had a solid. I thought his Double Disc album was pretty solid. But I think what Crit ran up against was, I thought his mixtape sounded better than his albums. And when he and I think that a lot of that had to do with sample clearances. You know what I'm saying? And when you're selling music, it's just way more shit you got to deal with. I was recently looking at Lupe Fiasco, and he was, he's indie now, so he's not on the major anymore. But he had songs that that he had been working on that had sample clearances, and then they were trying to redo the beats, because they couldn't get these sample clearances. They were trying to redo the beats around his vocals, and then he just said he was going to just completely trash those songs and create new songs, you know what I'm saying, with the same idea behind it. You know what I'm saying? I was thinking, man, that's got to be some hard shit to do, especially if you created something that just sounded like some classic shit, but you can't put it out because of, you know what I'm saying, risk of getting sued or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I think that Crit is probably going through that aspect, but I also kind of believe that Crit doesn't evolve his sound as much as he should. I don't think he kind of focuses more on like a traditional Southern sound, and I think that he's got to figure out how to kind of think about tomorrow with it and kind of push the boundaries a little bit. And I think that's where Big Crit is running his issues that he's running up again. But I thought his last album was a dope album. I like Crit, man. You know what I'm
saying? Yeah, man. I've always felt like I was on that shit heavy for a minute, but man, these kids just want to dance to some shit. Like, that's all they do. Let me tell you something. I got kids, right? And nigga, like, I realize, and like, I don't know. I still to this day don't know what the fuck Fortnite is. Like, I know it's a game, but like, nigga, I always thought that was some shit from a Shakespeare play, like, on a Midsummer's Fortnight. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is this? But I know that this dance because, I guarantee if you offer any kid under the age of 13 years old $500 to stand still for 5 minutes, that shit is impossible. Because these niggas like bust out with that shit randomly. All you see is little kids just doing that like fucking
I don't know
jelly
what
leg shit.
That shit is either, but all the kids know how to do that shit.
Man, that shit. Yeah, they all doing it. They all are fucking doing it. And here's the thing, man, like we said earlier, like every generation has their shit, man. You know what I'm saying? We was doing whatever we was doing at that age. I don't know. They got iPhones and shit, access to more shit. But in the reference to that generational gap, you know what I mean? As far as like hip hop is concerned, or like, pop culture. You feel like it's just the nature of the beast, or you feel like there should be more unity? Because I feel like it's just the nature of the beast. Like, some people gonna fuck with it, some people gonna not. Is certain people get stuck in their ways. It just kind of is what it is. Just cater to whatever audience.
I think that there has to be a little more unity, man. Because even with our generation, the old heads, they rocked with us. And then, I mean, I don't want to say completely rocked with us, but as far as like in the hip hop community, they rock with us. You know what I'm saying? For the most part. And we rock with them. We recognize, okay, like, I never was really into Slick Rick, but I understand Slick Rick and what he did and how that changed things. You know what I'm saying? And I think there has to be a little bit of, you have to show them, you have to kind of like force the history on them, you know what I'm saying, a little bit. And but I know because they're not gonna really listen to shit, right? They're not gonna listen to anything we're saying, because like I said, be real, you could have told me Big Daddy Kane, right? Like Big Daddy Kane, old heads tell me, oh, Big Daddy Kane got these bars, and I'm just like, nah, nigga, you know what I'm saying? Jay-Z got these bars, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Right? So so I used to be in the barbershops arguing with these old niggas like, nah, I don't think so. But they doing the same thing now. You know what I'm saying? They doing the same thing as I'm, yo, Jay-Z got these bars, and they like, nah, it's Kendrick. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, they be like, man, nah, nigga, get the fuck out of here with them old nigga bars. Nigga talking about savings and bonds and shit. Everybody try to hear that. I ain't trying. Nigga, I don't give a fuck about a CPR Picasso, bitch.
Like, my old ass, like, yo, this nigga, I need to get some savings and bonds, niggas. what I'm saying? Right.
Yeah, nigga, I need real estate. What is he? Where's my lawyer, Goldstein? Call him. What are we doing?
I think that we gotta, I think that a lot of it is because the older generation don't really fuck with the youth as much. You know what I'm saying? I think if they fuck with the youth as much, the youth will probably listen to him a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna be real with you, like Rakim, he's a little bit before my time, right? But I seen the way that Jay-Z and Dr. Dre and them was like, yo, Rakim is that dude. You know what I'm saying? So that made me respect Rakim because I seen how much influence he had on the people that I liked. You see what I'm saying? And I think that the younger our generation has to do a little bit more with working with the younger guys just to be like, yo, and the young guys that are popping right now, like the Kendricks and the J. Coles, they're about to be the new old heads here pretty soon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was just about to say, I don't even consider them the young guys, man. Like, them niggas is our age. Like,
no, but we're not the old heads, though. You see what I'm saying? We're not the old heads.
I kind of, we're
not really
technically no. Like, we're at the top of the top of the millennial age. but we on the verge, right? Here's the thing, like what we grew up on, right? Like, cause like for me, like here's the thing. I had this conversation on a previous episode about Jay-Z, right? I didn't grow up no Jay-Z fan. You know what I'm talking about? Like, what I grew up on was what my dad was listening to, which was UGK, No Limit. Nigga, I had every No Limit tape.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A-Bar, MJG, Tupac was mainstream. Tupac and Biggie were mainstream at that time. You know what I mean? So it was that, you get a little of that West Coast, East Coast shit. But that's what I grew up on. That and then as I got older, music was still regional. The internet wasn't super popping like that. So still it was the Houston era. That Chameleon, Paul Wall, that Swisher House. You know what I mean?
So you was just all the way straight underground, everything. Right.
Yeah. And it wasn't until like I got to the college and then the army where I met niggas from outside of that was like, yo, you fuck with Jay-Z? I'm like, nah, not really. But I would listen to it with them. Like, you know what I mean? But I could appreciate what he's done. You know what I mean? So like those dudes that are on the top end, like a Jay, you know what I'm saying? Like Bun B, those OGs, right? And then you got these new 20-something-year-olds, right? And then you got the niggas that's about to be OGs, like the Kendricks, J. Coles, Drakes, if you will, or whatever. And then there's niggas in between. Like, I feel like
you gotta understand something.
Not like we might as well be close to
about to be.
We're closer to
we're about to be OGs. Do you got a gray hair on your head yet, nigga? Are you thin?
Nigga, my girl just pointed out a gray hair in my beard the other day. I was super excited.
I was like, I wanted to grow in my beard too. So we're not all the way there yet. You know what I'm saying?
I seen that first grade, nigga. I was like, oh yeah, nigga, this shit about to be white. These bitches gonna look at me like the old distinguished nigga. I want that role. Come here, young girl. Let me pay for your school books. What you need a little tuition? I got you. I got you. I'm that old nigga that set it off on top of Stony. Hashtag men too. Listen, these are jokes. But this is the For Colored Men podcast. So like I say, fuck these bitches. This is for us. I know they're gonna drag me anyway. But yeah, I think we're closer to the old heads because that's what we grew up on. These young niggas is coming up under us.
I feel what you're saying, but like for me, man, whenever I see Kendrick or J. Cole out there, I'm like, oh, like that's me. You see what I'm saying? Or like when I see LeBron, right? Like I say, okay, that's me. You see what I'm saying? Like when you look at it, like we're like in prime. You know what I'm saying? Like we're in prime age. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how old you are. I'm 33. You know what I'm saying? But 33 is prime time. You know what I'm saying? To me, right? Because it's you know enough to do better, but you still young enough to not really give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? And so like we still kind of in there, you know what I'm saying? When I see when I see these these little pumps and you know what I'm saying, these little yachties and shit, I know these niggas like 18, 19, 20. To me, they kids, man. They just, to me, they kids. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I see them. You know what I'm saying? So like I get that somebody that's 13 is probably more interested in hearing what they got to say. You see what I'm saying? Than hearing what we got to say. You know what I mean?
No, and you know what I realized? Like, that's the majority of the internet. You know what I'm saying? Those teens, those
when you look at who's on top of everything, right? It's our age group. It's our demographic that's on top of every damn thing. It's like we're pretty much running everything. You know what I'm saying? In about 5 or 6 years, you know what? We're gonna be a little bit in the back. We're gonna be a little bit further in the background, but we still gonna be running shit. You see what I'm saying?
Well, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing, and this is what I think it is, right? Because I've heard this before, and I think this makes sense. Like they talk about before, like hip hop was always a young man's sport.
Not anymore.
It's a young man's game, but that's because hip hop in itself was young. Right, but now you got those artists that are in their 40s. I don't know,
I think Jay-Z about to be 50,
maybe. Like, yeah, and as he's aged, his music has aged, and as his music has aged, his fans have also aged with him. So when he was talking about selling crack, them niggas was at that age of selling crack. Now that he talking about buying Picassos, them niggas is working at UPS, but still on the same level of like nigga, I got a family to raise. You know what I'm saying? This nigga talking about some shit I relate to. You know what I'm saying? UPS got good benefits, nigga. Like my uncle drive for UPS. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's for respect. but you get what I'm saying? Like it's allowed to age. So the older you get, the more fans you have because they age with you and they've aged under you. And as these young niggas get older, their fans that they have now are going to age with them. And it's just a continuing process. But now you have the allowance of old niggas enjoying old nigga music.
It's true. You know what? And I do appreciate the Eminem and the Nas and the, Jay-Z and the Kanye. I do appreciate that age group's music, but I also appreciate the J. Cole, Kendrick, and the Drake era. You know what I'm saying? Because I really do kind of feel like they're like when they out there, they represent all of us. Because when they make whenever they pull back from what inspired them, it's some shit that I was inspired by. You see what I'm saying? When I'm listening to, I know Travis Scott's a little bit young. When I'm listening to Travis Scott's album and he makes that callback, he's making callback to shit that was popping when I was, you know what I'm saying? What that I remember, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm definitely not gonna hear that with a Lil Yachty. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason for me to truly hate Lil Yachty either, because I just know that I'm not his demographic. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay, man. Like, I have no problem with him doing his thing or doing whatever he got to do to. And a lot of people from my age group hate this nigga, and I don't understand why they hate him so much. But I just know that he ain't your demographic. You're not his demographic. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay. He can do what he do for your kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, just let it be.
Exactly, man. And that's the thing. Like, I don't judge these cats, man. Like, they've found a lane and they are doing something positive with themselves, right? Like, and I ain't, do you? I just like in a personal taste. Like, that's just not my cup of tea. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think me and you both came up on like lyrical, like niggas saying, like, you know what I mean? That's what
when I was 12, I was listening to DMX. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it was. It was a different era. All right.
And that is what it is, you know, man. Everybody got their personal taste, and you rock with what's in your lane. You know what I'm saying? Now, let me ask you this, right? At the same token of that, now we grew up on some. If you really think about it, we grew up on some gangster shit and we grew up on some raunchy shit. You think about the shit, Dre and Snoop was talking about. You think about Uncle Luke. You think about like niggas talking about selling dope, all this shit, right? So I mean, in retrospect, technically, people would say that's a quote unquote bad influence, right? Really, they're just talking about their environment, but it is what it is. But in that same reference in today's music, now you have the, popping pill, lean, everybody drugged out era. And I don't know do you feel like if there's necessarily more people dying in the game off this shit, and then you see kids mimicking that and wanting to do all this, do you think it should be cleaned up in that reference, or like, it's just music and they're reflecting? Is it art imitating life, or vice versa?
People like to talk about this, like like the music influenced people. I don't really. When I was young, I used to think that the music influenced the people, right? But now that I'm older, I'm like, you know what? I really think it's more art imitating life, because, like, I'm gonna just be real. I know you said that you was listening to UGK. UGK talked about doing cocaine. All right, I've heard Pimp C say it numerous times. All right, I've heard 3 6 Mafia say shit. I know that we grew up off nigga, a hit from our era is sipping on some scissor. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a hit song. I mean, we grew up in Texas. We started the lean movement. You see them? So that's that to me. I don't feel like we when we were talking about it, when we did it, you know what I'm saying? There was nobody there to really influence us. You know what I'm saying? It was just what we was doing. I believe like the drug raps, that was always going on, man. There was always people talking about drugs and shit. And to be totally honest with you, hip hop doesn't even have the most drug references in their music. It's actually country music. Country music has more drug references than rap music. You know what I'm saying? That's an actual true fact, but nobody attacks country music for that. You know what I'm saying?
Nobody judges country music. No, and it's funny because country music is probably the worst music on this earth. And I don't just mean in like it's bad music. I mean like the shit they talking about.
Every time I turn on a country, every time I hear a country song, it's a nigga talking about throwing back a shot. All right. These niggas is alcoholics, dog. Listen to a country song. I promise you, every country song got some with alcohol in it. You know what I'm saying?
I threw a shot back.
I heard a nigga say he don't know what's going on in the world, but he can fix him a drink. All right, like that's all that nigga cared about. All right, so I don't. But see, I don't.
Yo, that shit should be banned.
I don't feel like them talking about drugs is any different. I do feel like that it was our generation that kind of influenced the mainstream appeal. You know what I'm saying? To it. But I don't feel like I believe there's a lot of people that talk about doing this shit, they don't actually be doing it. But I mean, we've had people die from drug ODs too, bro. It's not just look at the people in Texas that died. Big Mo, you talking about Pimp C, or even like ODB. You know what I'm saying? It's been plenty of people from my generation that died from drugs. I know that for some people, it might be a little hard because it feels like it's so blatant in your face. But listen, I listen to Lil Jon's The Blow, The Pills, The Yak, The Herb. You see what I'm saying? Like that shit was, to me, it was always around me, no matter what. You see what I'm saying? Like it's not new to me. You know what I'm saying? But I do, and I also feel like that because you got white kids that were the biggest consumers of hip hop music, and they talk about like the violence that rap or they were violent against women and all this shit, but that shit didn't happen in the white community. You see what I'm saying? And they were the ones that were listening to it the most. Their kids listen to that shit the most. You see what I'm saying? So I don't feel like the music necessarily. There's never been a song that made. There's definitely been songs that made me want to fight somebody. I ain't gonna front. All right, the Lil Jon era in the clubs definitely had me swinging on niggas. I can't front about that, but I've never killed the nigga because of the, you know what I'm saying? Because of the music. I've never did some wild shit because of the music or whatever, man. Like if I did some shit, it was because that's what I wanted to do. It was never the music influenced me. I listened to DMX is one of the most violent motherfuckers I can think of, bro. And I listened to that shit when I was 12. I didn't become a violent person. You know what I'm saying? So I guess it just all depends on who's smart enough to understand the difference between what is deemed as entertainment and what's deemed as real life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it's also era, man. Like, yeah, we had the music, but we ain't have everything else. Like, you know what I mean? Like, today, everything is full access. Like, niggas is on, like, social media all day. Like, that's what they looking at. Like, so it's more like, because it's weird, man. These kids, like, interpersonal skills are weird.
No, they're fucked up.
You know what I mean? They're like,
they're definitely fucked up.
Yo, for real, because it's like they don't know how to interact in person, but online, like, I remember, like, when I like got out the army and first went back to college, like right after I got divorced, I was like in my late 20s, but I was surrounded by bitches of like between 18 and like 22, right? And even then, it was like I was like talk to certain girls like on the internet, and they be like a whole different person. And in real life, them bitches is like awkward as fuck. Like, you know what I mean? Not knowing like that, like they don't got
no social skills, man. And I do believe that the next generation of kids are really gonna have it bad. Like there's the like the 20-something-year-olds right now that's dealing with that shit, but that next wave after them, they're gonna really be fucked up because they're not gonna know nothing else. See, we were like, I think as far as like technology is concerned, we was like, our generation had the best of both worlds because we were there for the analog shit, right? Like we still had to go outside and, you know what I'm saying? It was, I don't know about you, but if, nigga, when I got a bicycle, right? I was like, nigga, I can go anywhere I want. You know what I'm saying? That was my mentality. You know what I'm saying? You give a kid a bicycle now, they don't know what they don't know what the fuck to do with that shit. They don't know where to go. But like, but what I'm trying to get at is that we were the ones that we were there for when there was hardly any technology, and then we also grew up with that shit into our adulthood. So we know what it was like without technology, and we know what it's like with technology. The ones after us, all they know is the old heads, they don't know, they still don't know how to send a fucking PDF, right? They don't know how to do that shit. And the young heads, that's all they know how to do. You know what I'm trying to say? They don't know how to write on a piece of paper. So we're like the last generation to get the best of both worlds. You know what I'm saying? We can use technology, we can utilize it. We don't have to be 100% bogged down by it to where we can't even fucking have a conversation with a real person. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We the last generation, bro.
Yeah. We gotta, man, like I work in higher education and I feel like, you know, I want to teach them, but at the same time, like, man, fuck these niggas. Yeah, I'm dead. Like, you know what I mean? Like, fuck them. Let them do what they gonna do, man. I don't give a fuck if the earth is destroyed. I'm gonna be buried in that shit.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you right now, if I ask kids, them niggas gonna be mad as hell. I'll be like, nah, nigga, there ain't no cell phones, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Unless you can pay the bill, ain't no damn cell
for
phones.
For real, man. What you got on it? What you get it nigga? For real. Shit. So, all right, man. Well, okay, so just a few, and we'll get on some light hip hop topics, right? This is what you guys focus on. In the realm, okay, so with you fuck with Kanye, right? Here's the thing, like I like musically, like don't get me wrong, I haven't really like. The last thing that I really like jammed was maybe Late Registration.
Oh,
what was after Late Registration?
Graduation.
I may have fucked with Graduation. I think like when he got into Twisted Dark Fantasies and all them shits, I ain't really listened to him. But it's a lot of people who are like real Kanye fans, right? That feel like, I guess he sold them out. I don't necessarily particularly feel that way because I'm not really a huge Kanye fan like that anyway. I respect what he's done. Like I respect all the OGs, like what all they've done. But I don't really give a fuck about political views, in my opinion. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
so the political views don't necessarily influence whether or not you're gonna listen to somebody's album.
No.
Right.
No. Like, I don't, like, people's political views don't really affect how I interact with them at all. I have a friend I know for sure, and I probably have more friends who voted for Trump. But does that make me not be cool with them? Like, right. No, like they've came through for me personally a lot of times, so I don't care. Like, I didn't vote at all, so I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I said it. I just registered to vote in fucking Minnesota. Right. You know what I realized? I don't know shit about the politicians here. Why should I be allowed to vote, nigga? I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm just writing the name down. What the fuck?
That's a good damn question.
Yeah, man. So do you feel like niggas should be boycotting this nigga? Like, people be like, oh, I'm not wearing Yeezys no more. I've never bought a pair of Yeezys.
Right. I think that the funny thing is that if there's black people saying I don't wear Yeezys no more, that's just kind of crazy to me, because I think that Kanye's customer base is a majority black when it comes to any of his sneakers. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I think he's got a pretty wide mixture of people. But as far as should we like ban him or whatever, to me, man, I kind of feel like okay. Yeah, you got friends that voted for Trump, right? Mm-hmm. Depending on what they voted for him for, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there could be different reasons, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure that the reasons why you're friends with these people that voted for Trump isn't the reason. That would let me probably have a better idea of why they voted for Trump. You see what I'm trying to say, mm-hmm. right? But there's people that have voted for Trump that have been on like some shitty ass people. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
And
of course.
when people see Trump, they see a representation of those people. You see what I'm saying? And so with Kanye, I think that when they see Kanye wearing the MAGA hat, right? They also know that there's people that are, these racist fucks, right? Or these shitty people that rock that they're all thumbs up with the MAGA hat. So when they see Kanye wearing it, that's what they see. And that's why people feel the way that they feel about it. Because I mean, I don't know if you heard the Watch the Throne album, but to be honest with you, I never heard the words black excellence before that album. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So to see Kanye go from that to rocking the MAGA hat and not knowing that, Kanye's rocking the MAGA hat for reasons other than why people don't like to see him in the MAGA hat. You see what I'm saying? But I don't think he understands that his fan base are for the most part against that shit. You see what I'm saying? Mm. The people that love the fact that Kanye West is in the MAGA hat today are the same ones that called him all kind of niggers and shit when he took the microphone from Taylor Swift. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's what I don't think he truly understands what is going on with the people at the bottom. I think he's really so far high up there that he truly can't understand what's happening down here. You see what I'm saying? I think that's the issue that people are having with it. Will that make me boycott his album? I'm probably still gonna listen to his album because I like Kanye. I like Kanye shit. You know what I'm saying? But I can see how somebody would say they're not fucking with Kanye West anymore.
Yeah, man. I mean, I get it. I mean, I get. Yeah. I just my personal beliefs is I don't really care that much. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's just funny that how politics is so divisive in these things.
Well, you know what's real crazy, man? A lot of it's divisive because we're letting these other, I don't know if people are aware that there are people that are in different news. For example, there's AJ Plus. Right, which is it's a news company, but it's geared towards the liberals. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't know that that's AJ Plus is just rebranded Al Jazeera, which is funded by the Qatari government. So you basically got the Qatari government pushing their ideals and their beliefs in America, as well as RT.com, which is basically rebranded Russia Today. You see what I'm saying? Who's also pushing a conservative view into America. So that it might, the divisiveness that's happening within America might not even be the people. It may just be these media companies and these outside media, these foreign media companies that's pushing in this particular information to create this divisiveness. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's just because I see some shit sometimes. I consider myself somewhat liberal. I see some shit sometimes on the liberal side, and I'll be like, yo, nigga, that is way too fucking liberal for me. You know what I'm saying? And I see some shit on the conservative side. I don't really consider myself conservative, but I see some shit sometimes over there, and I'm just like, yo, I don't even think the real conservatives fuck with this. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, that's the media I see is I feel like it's playing a big part in the divisiveness of shit.
Oh yeah, no, most definitely. I think, and here's the thing, man. I consider myself a centralist, and I don't even know if the fuck that's a real thing, but that's what I'm gonna call myself because like
you should take a test. I consider myself a centrist too, and I found out I was like 83% liberal. All right.
Oh, word? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna give you the website I'm gonna give you the website. So it's a pretty in-depth test that you can take where they ask you your views on things.
Yeah.
And it'll tell you at the end of it, like, yo, this is who you are, and if you were to go vote, this is who you should probably go vote for. You know what I'm saying?
That'd be so funny if my shit turned out. I was like, yeah, you should go vote for Trump. I'm like, wait, goddamn, I'm a piece of shit. Like, how did that happen?
Right.
But because here's my thing. Like, I'll see all these headlines, right? I'll see like all these like memes, headlines, just like political shit. There's like extreme left and extreme right.
Right.
And I was like, I said this the other day, I was like, man, both of y'all are the same people. I think I tweeted this out. I was like, man, both of y'all are the same people.
Right.
Like, because like both of them shits is extreme. Like, my whole thing is like, I look at both extremes, and I'll be like, yo, them shits gotta meet somewhere in the middle.
Right.
So there's things that I'll be like, I guess would have a belief that would be conservative and also liberal, like, right? Like, man, I don't give a fuck what a woman does with her body. It's hers.
Right.
I'll put some money on it if she want me to, but I shouldn't, like, I don't want to pay for it. Like, you know what I mean? It's whatever you want to do. Like, it's your body, whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? That may be a liberal. Wait, is that a liberal view or a conservative view? I don't.
It's definitely more. It's definitely more left leaning, but but I
also think that like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think minimum wage should be raised to $15 an hour. I think this is the dumbest shit ever.
I feel the exact same way.
Exactly, because what you don't fail to realize is when you raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, you don't bring those people above the poverty line.
Right.
You raise the poverty line.
Right.
So you put more people under it because the people that are making $15 an hour now aren't going to get a raise, and now they're making the same as the motherfucker at McDonald's who's getting your order wrong. And that's why you getting replaced by robots, motherfucker.
Right.
That's why Boston Dynamics is making robot dogs, because your dumb ass want $15 an hour.
Right. So, I mean,
fuck out of here.
Yeah, I mean, there's nuances to everything with like the one thing that I don't understand about like liberals. I feel like with liberals, man, they're a little bit of intolerant to different ideas, which you would think that with liberals, they would be the most open to different ideas, but they're intolerant. I mean, can you really even call yourself a liberal if you're intolerant of somebody else's thoughts? Like, for example, they're very open to different religions, but when it comes to Christianity, they shut that shit down. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, like, all right, like, is that even really truly liberal? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you really open to everybody's viewpoints? You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing that I got with liberals, even though I kind of consider myself a liberal man. But it's a lot with politics, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just there's nuances to everything. And I don't think you should vote based on like blind loyalty to a party. I think you should really look at the issues and what's going on and who's the best person for the job. You know what I'm saying? That's just what
Most definitely. Most definitely. All right, so we gonna wrap up in a little bit. But on a hip hop scale, right? This is late in the year, right? So a lot of shit has dropped. And here's the thing, man. I have very exclusive ears. I'm not like hip to everything that's going on, like hip hop wise. Like the shit I listen to, like all year, I think Starlito's dropped like 4 albums. I've been listening to every one of them shits that he dropped this year. Gates dropped. I've been listening to that shit. I listen to Pusha's shit when it dropped. I listened to a few joints off the Kanye shit. Jam Nipsey's shit when it dropped earlier in the year. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have the entire scope. But for you, what's your top 5 albums this year that's dropped?
Oh shit! I haven't even gotten around to getting a chance to take. I would say,
there's been a lot of shit that's dropped too, man. I've seen it. I just ain't.
Oh yeah, no. This has been one of hip hop's biggest years. Everybody dropped. I would say just off of the top, without like having to like go through like the entire list of things. I liked Nipsey's album. I liked J-Rock's album. That was hard. I liked Boss's album. I liked. I'm currently in spinning Lupe's. I've been kind of spinning that for the past couple of weeks. I liked. What's the guy I can't think of his name right now. He used to be in Slum Village. And he dropped I can't think of his name right now. For shit. But he dropped the album with the producer Crisis. And that was a dope ass album. Elzai, that's his name. Elzai. Elzai had a dope album. There's a couple more out there, man. You know what I'm saying? But those are like some solid like rap albums with like, you know, thoughts and ideas and wordplay and lyricism. You know what I'm saying? And those are some solid rap albums. There's more, trust me. There's definitely more. Eminem, I'm kind of wishy-washy with that one, even though, you know, it was way better than his last one. I don't know if I'll put that in my top 5, but there's definitely a lot more out there, man. You know what I'm saying? I need a list. I need to have a list in front of me for everything that dropped, because so much shit dropped. Pusha T had a solid album too. I fucked with
Pusha's album. I was in the gym on that shit for a minute. Right. Now, one more question. On the messier side, the greatest beefs of this year thus far.
So I know I got a hot take. I kind of felt like MGK.
You said hot take.
Yeah, I got a hot take. Hot take alert. Take alert. I kind of feel like MGK got the better of Eminem, and I don't feel like MGK is a better rapper than Eminem. I just felt like in the actual battle rap itself, I felt like MGK got the upper hand. One, because MGK was just hitting these offensive hits on Eminem. And some people will try to downplay these offensive hits, but he was saying some shit. And Eminem, his response was more of a defense. I felt like he was more on the defense, like trying to counterattack, but he wasn't really hitting MGK that hard. You see what I'm saying? So if you look at it like a boxing match, man, I kind of felt like MGK came out swinging and Eminem was trying to duck around it. You see what I'm saying? That's just my personal take. You know what I'm saying? I still feel like Eminem is a better rapper by far. Just as far as the beef goes, we on that. Pusha T, I gotta give Pusha T the W over Drake. Pusha T, I felt like at the beginning of the summer, let out I think he did a seance on that song. He let out a bunch of rap demons. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why the rap game has such a crazy ass year, because there's been rap demons floating around everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I really feel like Pusha T set this whole fucking year off. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I got to give him a W on that, man. I don't know if any other rap beef. I guess what, Nicki? I don't really have any other rap beefs that that was that interesting. You know what I'm saying? It's Nicki and Cardi, but it's been a crazy year.
Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing with beef, right? And I was thinking about this the other day. When you talk about who won something, it's really not like that shit is subjective, right? Like art is a subjective thing. And I think when you talk about who won something, that's subjective also. Because I really think that's based off fan base. A lot of reason people like or don't like something is based off the fan base. Let me tell you something. Ain't nobody ever gonna go at Beyonce. You know why? Because the Bayhive will be on your ass. She don't gotta say nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? She has I think Beyonce might have the biggest fan base in the world.
I don't know, man. I don't know, because that Eminem fan base after MGK came out, that fan base is toxic, bro. They are fucking toxic.
Even the stands, though, because here's the thing. It's not even Eminem fans no more. They're Eminem apologists. Because I ain't gonna lie, Joe Budden had a good point of
a lot of good points.
Yo, man, yeah, last 10 years, that nigga ain't been really saying shit, and he been flopping, but still, everybody's like, yo, you gotta respect what he's done. And you do. And you gotta respect his talent. But we not gonna say, like, niggas be like, okay, the last 3 albums was whack. But, he's still, yeah, you give him that. But it's based off fan base. But, like, so just I think I agree with you. MGK's won because Eminem was just kind of being defensive with everybody, and I think he used that beef in that Kamikaze album to sell it. You know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
His last few albums was whack, so everybody's selling beef. All right, I'm gonna go with yada 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 yada.
Eminem is he's battle tested. It's almost like he needs beef.
Is he really? Is he really
battle tested? He's battle tested.
Really?
He needs a beef in order to truly be in his final form. You see what I'm saying? Like, in order for you to get like to be the most entertained by Eminem, he has to have beef happening. You know what I'm saying? This is what it is, man.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's just that controversy sales thing. So, but as far as like bars, yeah, MGK gave him bars. Now, well, and so I think with Cardi B and Nicki, it's like, yo, these barbs is broke. All y'all bitches do is get on the internet and try to attack people, but y'all ain't buying albums.
That's true.
Like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Yo, and Cardi's out here doing it. You can't hate that. And, yo, you can't lie, nigga did do some police shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it ain't even rap shit. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't know if who right for who, but I've heard some Cardi verses, and I was like, oh, that shit was fire.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I ain't felt that way about Nicki in a minute.
In a long ass time.
Early Nicki, I was like, oh, that's
early Nicki, I was like, yeah, she a spitter. Yeah. I just feel like Nicki, man, Nicki lost a good opportunity to build. You have like J. Cole, he's bringing up Dreamville. I like everything that Dreamville is doing, right? But like Nicki should have had her own Dreamville. Nicki should have had her Young Money by now, right? Or like even Drake got OVO going. She missed all. You know how many chicks is out here that's rapping? They named Asian Doll, Cuban Doll. I'm trying to think of who else. There's like
Kasha Doll, ain't it?
Cash Doll. There's like 7 or 8 of these fucking chicks. There should be no reason that Nicki hasn't tried to like create some sort of fucking brand around it with the barbs and all that shit. She just missed a whole fucking opportunity. You see what I'm saying? Not even if she didn't go that route where she went with the branding like that, where she linked up with all the doll chicks, right? If she had just put on some chicks and she let some other chicks and just come up, she wouldn't be in this position that she is now. And I kind of feel like her trying to hold on to the top female rapper spot and not let anybody in is the reason that she's catching so much heat right now. You know what I'm saying? The reason why she's falling off so hard. You see what I'm saying? But she gonna go down swinging though. Trust me.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you. Now let me say this: the Pusha and Drake shit, and I didn't even. I want to watch it, but I haven't yet. The whole barbershop thing.
Oh yeah, I just watched it yesterday.
I haven't watched it yet, but I will say this about that, right? Yes, I think Pusha won that battle, right? But I don't give a fuck what nobody say. I'm Upset was fire. And when he dropped that goddamn Degrassi reunion video, oh, nigga, I played that shit about 20 times a day for about 3 weeks. Nigga, that shit was fire. And you can't tell me.
I didn't watch Degrassi.
How I found it. No, listen. How I found out about who Drake was, nigga, I watched Degrassi. I'm not gonna sit here and front. I knew who Wheelchair Jimmy was before I knew who Drake was. And when I heard Drake, I was like, yo, this kind of dope. And then when I seen the album cover, I was like, nigga, this Wheelchair Jimmy. Aubrey Graham is rapping now? Like, nigga. Niggas talk about I remember when battle rappers used to always throw Wheelchair Jimmy lines in raps. And I'm like, niggas talk about they didn't watch Degrassi, but show Will talk. How the fuck you know who Wheelchair Jimmy is?
I have never seen Degrassi. I don't even know what channel that shit came on, man. I've never seen it.
That shit was on the noggin, nigga.
I don't even know what the fuck what is on the noggin, dog?
Yo, man, nigga, I watched Degrassi. But then also this too, right? I'm Upset was fire to me because for me, that was the bitter baby daddy anthem of the goddamn summer. I'm upset. 50,000 on my head, I can't accept. Right. These bitches, all they want is a check. Man, I was singing that shit because I was, fuck these hoes. This bitch try to get me for my paper. It won't let me see my goddamn kids, man. Fuck these hoes. I was singing that shit.
The first time I heard it, I was like, oh, this shit, because it was right off of the strength of I think God's Plan, and then that released, and it was like, yo, this ain't on the level as God's Plan, so people just wrote it off. But as time went, you know what I'm saying, and you hear it, it becomes a more relatable track. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I fucked with that shit. I didn't. Like, nigga, I'm trying to stay objective. I fucked with that shit hard, and I hear a lot of people say that shit was whack. I was like,
I think in the beginning there was a lot of people that saying it's whack, man. But the culture has decided later on that was actually a pretty hot track. We slept on that. We was wrong.
Yo, that shit, nigga, I heard it from the jump. That shit was fire to me. Nigga. But yeah, man, so we about to get out of here, but before we do, go ahead and shout out what you got going on, all your links, tell them where to follow you at.
Yes, man, it is the Truth Be Told podcast, hip hop podcast. Sometimes you gotta type it in like that because there's a couple of Truth Be Told podcasts that kind of popped up, but just so you know you got the right one, look for the yellow cover with the two guys on the front. We're on like Apple, we're on Google Podcasts, all the Android apps. We just got on the Spotify for a Spotify podcast a couple of days ago, so you can now find us on Spotify too. So yeah, man, that's pretty much where we at, man. You go hit us up at Trillmatic.com for the hip hop, for the underground indie hip hop, because that's kind of really who I'll be pushing on there. Yeah, man, that's it. Oh yeah, follow me, Bigg UU 254 on all the social medias.
All right, man. So we gonna go ahead and get out of here, man. Really appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate you for having me, bro.
Yeah. So this has been the Four Colored Man podcast with your host Terry Bluez. I'm still trying to come up with a tagline.